So are we ready here? La la la, we're ready. So how is the light? I feel like I'm in the dark. Maybe not. All right. It's very pink tonight, Pavel. All right, guys. So it's the 20th of August. Good evening. 8 o'clock, Wednesday. We're going to do another webinar tonight, guys. And this time we're going to talk about the narcissistic personality. So it's good to have you. We have just a few guys here on Zoom tonight. I remember a month ago, we did the same title. We had over 300 registrations. We could only allow 100 people in on Zoom. And it was actually a full house. So seeing 4 of you guys tonight, which is Miriam, Kyle, Karen, and Dan, I guess everybody's going on holiday, right? Anyway, it's all fine. I guess it's just going to be, among us, kind of like an intimate kind of webinar, I suppose. Yeah. Now we're also on Facebook, I hope, and on Instagram. Kyle is nodding, yes. All right. So apparently we are, and then I guess we're also on YouTube tonight. So welcome everybody if you're following this webinar. Now, like I said, my name is Erik. You might have picked up my accent already. I'm Dutch. That's my origin. I'm from Holland. I came to Ireland about 3 years ago. And one of my passions actually is to just relay useful information, useful data to everybody else so you can actually make use of it and use that in your own life and apply it. And to that extent, the information that we're going to share with you tonight about the narcissist is going to be very revealing. Before we get there, I would like to ask you quickly, where are you from and what brought you to this webinar tonight? So we got the chat open. Just feel free to put something in the chat. Let us know where you're from. That's also nice for your companion fellows who are here tonight, who are watching this webinar. Maybe we can actually familiarize a little bit. So yeah, put something in the chat. Where are you from and what brought you to this webinar? I'll just pause for a minute, see if we have any newcomers. So then, welcome to have you here. Let me just get that computer a little bit more so that I remained in the camera. Dan, I think we had you before, right? You're here for Meetup. That's great to have you again. We got Fiona Jones. It's good to have you. We got Karen. Welcome, Karen. Well, Kyle has been here over 70 times, guys. That's amazing. One of our best followers, for sure. So welcome, Kyle. Great to have you. And then we got Maria. We got Miriam. We got Sally Lee. All right, Sally. Sally, I think we spoke on the phone, so it's good to see you again. Lovely. All right, guys. Well, like I said, the chat is wide open. So if you want to put something in there, maybe you're typing at this moment, we would like to know where you're from and what brought you to this webinar. Now, if you're busy with that question, if you're busy answering that question, I also have another question for you. And that is this question. Do you see that sometimes somebody affects you badly after you have been in a conversation with that person? Have you noticed that some people have this tendency to leave you affected quite badly after having been in conversation with that person for a while? Just let that sink in. Give me a yes or no, or maybe an example. All right, Miriam. Eres de Madrid. Que bien. I'm originally from Madrid, but lived in Cornwall for some while, even in my younger years. And also lived in Holland. Wow, and Ireland. Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, so cool. Then we get Sarah. Sarah's from the UK, from England. Okay, beautiful. Well, thank you for your answers, guys. That's great. Good. So I have this question for you. Yeah, basically to get started. Do you see that somebody leaves you badly affected after having been in a conversation with that person? Yeah. Sí, te gusta el español, ¿no? ¿Verdad? Bueno, lo aprendí en Venezuela, ¿sabes? So I probably have a bit of a Venezuelan accent there. Good. So, all right, we got Dan from Birmingham. Nice. England, looking for understanding of narcissist relationship and strategies to heal. We're going to cover exactly that, Dan, tonight. So I'm going to give you some valuable information. Basically, we're going to cover two things. We're going to cover the mindset of narcissists, and then also how to affect you and what you can actually do about it. Yeah, so Karen is from the UK, spent a lot of time in the US. Beautiful, fantastic. Kyle, yes, you've noticed that you've been here over 70 times, yes. All right, guys, so here's the question again. Do you see that somebody leaves you badly affected after you have been in the presence of that person for a while? You know? Give me a yes or no, please. Have you seen that some people affect you badly after you have been in their presence, after you've been in conversation with them? Yes. All right. Good. So it tells you right away. In very, very simple terms, that some people lift you up. They will support you. They will help you. They will encourage you. They will listen to you. They will acknowledge you. In other words, these people have an uplifting effect. And there's people who are actually pulling you down. So we're going to have a look at these vampire personalities, these narcissists, so to speak. Now, okay, so we're going to start off with a little mind exercise, because we want to know what is going on in the mind of this narcissistic individual. What's going on in his mind? How does he think? And in order to understand that a little bit better, we need to know at least something about the mind. So here's a quick drill, a quick exercise that we're going to do. And so I want to ask you, do you remember primary school? Do you remember primary school? And if I would say primary school, maybe you can imagine what the playground looks like again. Maybe you can imagine again what the classroom looked like. Maybe you can imagine again what the building looked like. Let's say we take the classroom. What colors did it have? Right? Where were the windows? Where was the blackboard? Where was the teacher sitting? Where was the entrance? So very quickly, did you get some flashes? Did you get some pictures? Did you see some pictures coming up in your mind, depicting the building, the classroom, the playground? Do you get some pictures? Because we're going to sketch this out. Now, next thing I want to ask you, and this is a bit of a funny drill, is I would like to ask you to imagine that you're sitting in the kitchen right now. I suppose most of you are not sitting in the kitchen, so just do that drill. Let's imagine you're sitting in the kitchen. What I'd like you to do is, from where you are sitting, go ahead and point out, where is the fridge? Just go ahead from where you're sitting. Where would the fridge be? If you got that, point it out with your index finger. Really stretch out your hand. Point it out. Where's the fridge? If you got that, then where's the table? Might be just in front of you. Right? Now, where's the cooker? Where's the cooker? Where would that be? Just go ahead, point it out. Where would the nearest window be? Finally, where's the door? Now, were you able to point out these different objects in your kitchen? Are you able to do that? Give me a yes or no, please. Are you able to do that exercise? Just imagine from where you're sitting, where's the fridge? Where's the cooker? Where's the table? Where's the window? Where's the door? Are you able to pinpoint these objects? All right, Karen says yes. Beautiful. Good. All right, so I assume many of you guys can do that. Now, let's have a look. Let's make a little sketch of the mind. There's your body, right? Your mind makes pictures. Your mind makes images. We're gonna cover that. Your mind makes images. Now, as you could just see, these images, they're not tangible. You cannot touch them. You cannot knock them. You cannot lift them. They don't have any mass. You can't really size them up. So they have the appearance there's nothing there, right? But at the same time, there is something there because you can perceive it. Right? In other words, you can experience it. Now, it's quite a breakthrough to get that realization because a lot of people don't even know there was something like this thing called the mind. What does it consist of, right? Now, your mind is like a camcorder. Well, let's say, I don't know, let's say you go to a concert, right? You go to a concert and you hold up your phone and you're recording the whole concert. Then back home, you're replaying that concert. Your mind is doing exactly the same. You're basically making a recording of everything that's happening in your life. And then you can replay that recording. Yeah? That's what your mind is. It's very simple. It's just recording everything that happens to you, and then you can replay it. That is your mind. Simple, right? So your mind makes pictures. All right. Now, we can actually see that these pictures are all three-dimensional. So, let's give it a name. This is your body. That's your mind. It's a quote-unquote recording machine. Now, recording machine that makes three-dimensional recordings. So, here's an interesting thing. We may have heard, and we may have read, and we may have come to believe that all these pictures are in the brain. Now, before we go on, that whole brain theory is unproven. There's no scientific evidence that all these pictures are in the brain. I'm not going to go into it, but just showing when it comes to mental health, there has never been a technology to raise IQ or to make a person more confident or to make a person more able with the brain theory. So the brain theory was just an assumption. Everybody swallowed it. Everybody took it for granted. But there's no medical proof. There's no scientific proof. Now, here's the kicker. From the drill in the kitchen, where's the fridge? Where's the cooker? Where's the window? Where's the table? Where's the door? We're actually pointing about us. This is a mental experience. It's a mental experience. It's not a brain experience. If it would have been a brain experience, maybe you would have done this. Well, the fridge is right here, and then the cooker is there, and the table is in the center of my head, and the door is in the back of my head, and the window is just next to my temple. But you didn't do that. So there's something else going on. This is a spiritual experience. If we like it or not, but that's a spiritual experience. Now, we could ask the question, who or what is looking at these pictures? Well, let's just say it is you. So now we got something interesting. There's actually three things that we can look at. We could study the body. Well, body lasts on average 75 years. So it's nice to know more about it. But it's not super duper interesting. Your mind got stuff in there that may cause you stress. That whenever you think of something sad, you feel the sadness again. So it can definitely influence you. So that's definitely an interesting part to study. Now this is where it gets really interesting. How much better can you get? What is your real potential? Right? How much smarter can you get? How much more able can you become? How much more confident can you be? That's where it gets really interesting. So I'm going to have a little look at how these things work. Now, I'm going to ask you a bit of, let's say, maybe perhaps an unpleasant question, yeah? What I'd like you to do is, can you remember an altercation? Just going back into these pictures, can you remember an altercation or an upset with somebody, or maybe a fight? Can you remember such a moment? Maybe recently, maybe longer ago. Can you remember an altercation, a real upset that you had somebody, a verbal fight? Can you remember such an incident? Please let me know in the chat. You can see that. Sarah says, okay, not in the kitchen, but doesn't matter. All right, okay, good. But does that matter? I guess that was a question mark, yeah. Okay, good. Sarah, thank you. All right, so you guys, I got some yeses here. In other words, so you remember an upset, a verbal fight, an altercation with somebody. Let's say that is a moment here somewhere. Now, if you look back at that moment, if you think again of that moment, if you think again of that recording, yeah, it's been recorded. So if you contact that recording again, and you just did that cause you a little bit of discomfort, or did that give you some kind of like an unwanted feeling, like you felt like you kind of like felt a bit upset again, or maybe some anger came up, or some frustration came back, or a sense of like, I would still strangle him if I could, or her. Some kind of a sensation come back to you when you just thought of that moment again. All right, so Karen says yes, sadness, all right. Okay, then, yeah, all right, so the feeling is still there. Okay. All right, anybody else? Thank you very much. Miriam, yes, of course. All right. All right, Sarah, sad. I get you. Okay, now, so obviously I did not want to reactivate that whole thing again, right? I did not want to reactivate that. That was not the purpose. Now, but if you just connected with that, you felt there was a charge there. There was a charge. We could define that charge as an unwanted. That's an unwanted feeling, right? Now, can you imagine that if you have an unwanted feeling, you would probably also change in behavior? Now, here's another question for you. When you contacted that moment, was it easy for you to just park it and leave it alone and come back to present time and say, well, nothing really happened. Nothing is happening to me right now. Okay, I contacted that recording. It made me upset just for a few seconds, but I was able to come out of it. And here I am right now, completely unaffected. Were you able to do that? All right, so here we go. There's a no, right? Okay, no, it's become emotional baggage. All right. So, all right, so Sarah, yes, but I think about it. So here, actually, we have the bug. This is the bug in the mind. It's the bug in everybody's mind. It's way stronger. That bug is way stronger in the mind of the narcissist. You guys are relatively in a good shape because at some point you are going to come out of it and go back to normal. The narcissist doesn't do that. He is stuck in there and he's just reliving that moment. And he's just replaying, he's just putting it on automatic replay. That is the first difference to clearly understand. So you look back at that altercation, that fight, that upset, and that charge started to affect you. And you got this unwanted feelings, like sadness, like upset, feeling upset again, whatever happened. You found it very hard to shake. Maybe right now it's still there with you. But you'll find out after a couple of hours, it's just gone. It's gone back to its original place. With the narcissist, that doesn't happen. He stays in there. So now, that's the bug, right? And you can actually, from that, let me just see what happens in the chat here. Okay, so Miriam, often I have meditated for many years, not but now always. Often I chase after the past of that very moment of feeling. All right, Miriam, thank you. I got that. That's cool. Now, so here's the thing, yeah. We can just say there's a bug. Now, I just mentioned that word bug. And what I mean by that is that, let me get another color. What I mean with the bug is that you look at the picture, right? And that picture now gives that charge back to you and through your body. That is essentially what's happening. So now you get affected by one of your own recordings. In other words, that recording now controls you. You don't control the recording. That's the bug. So you have a bad experience, right? There's a certain, let's say one night you go through a dark alley, you get robbed, right? And you get hit in your back, and now you're in pain and you're in fear, and what have you. You have a bad experience. Some years later, you go through a dark alley, and all of a sudden you get the same feeling again. The recording goes on automatic replay. This is what the bug is. It now controls you, but you don't control it. If you want to know how to fix that, because that can be fixed, and just imagine that you're no longer affected by these unwanted feelings, these feelings of stress, the butterflies in your stomach, the knot in your stomach, right? The anxiety, because that is just recordings that go into automatic replay. That causes you all these feelings. If you want to get rid of that, I would strongly recommend to read this book. It's called Dianetics, Modern Science of Mental Health. It's a book on the mind. It's a book on the subconscious mind, and actually reveals what is in there that is causing you to have these feelings and how to fix it. Now, I'm going to give you a link by the end of the evening with a special gift, just in case that you're interested in that book. I want to wipe this out right now, and I want to give you another example. See. Just dry up this board a bit. Right, so first of all, remember that narcissist, he is really stuck in a recording that keeps replaying automatically. In other words, he's taking in that data, right, and judging his environment in the way that the recording tells him. Okay, so now let's imagine we got Mary and Jane. No, we got Mary and Joe. We got Joe and Mary. Joe and Mary, they're a lovely couple. They've been in love for many years. Let's say now it's 7 a.m. in the morning, and Joe snaps. And for some reason or the other, he lashes out at Mary. And she's badly affected by that incident. She had no clue why that had to happen. And the problem is, she has to go to work. So there she is. She's sitting at her desk. Let's say it's 11 a.m. And right now, there she is in front of her computer. Now, I want to ask you, is her attention really there at the computer, or is her attention still at what happened earlier in the morning? Where is her attention? Is it back here on early in the morning, or is her attention right there in present time at her work? Sarah, I can tell you, I'm not a doctor in the field of narcissism, but I like your question. Yeah. I'm just about to get that book. I can't wait to read it. Well, we're going to give you a link tonight, Miriam. We're going to give you a link with free shipping, and actually with a fabulous gift. So just wait a little bit. Don't be in a hurry. I want to make you a good offer. So guys, all right. So what do you think? Is Marie's attention right now at her work, or is Marie's attention at that altercation on what happened in the morning? All right. Okay, good. You bought it already. It's on its way. Okay, good. Fantastic. Beautiful. Now, so guys, give me an answer. Give me an answer. There was an altercation. This major upset. He's lashing out. I don't want to have another word of you. He's lashing out at Marie. She's going to go to work. Is her attention here at work, or is her attention at what happened in the morning? It's in the morning. Exactly. All right. So it tells you, if it was me, it would be on the altercation, right? It tells you we can actually be stuck in time. Very, very key to understand. We can be stuck in time. So if we draw the mind again. She's actually stuck in the recording of the morning. All right. Now, let's assume Joe and Marie, they're quite sane people. They're sane people. She's going home. And let's say it's 8 p.m. now. They decide to have a conversation. And they decide to talk over the whole thing that happened in the morning. Now, they finally come to the conclusion that they're both very sorry, that it was just based on a horrible misunderstanding. And they really love each other. They express their love for one another. And they actually get that stuff off of their chests. Now, if that happens, do you think Marie still has her attention on that moment here? Or has it cleared up? Does she still have her attention on what happened earlier in the morning? Or has it cleared up? Give me I call it mental agility. We lose it as we age and with the ability to be more present. Yes. Miriam, I'm going to give you an example of that. Yeah. Okay. So I think we start losing it. Okay, she's okay after making it up. Good. Okay, so it's cleared. All right, good. So now here, we had this recording. We had that recording, and that recording, that moment was quite dramatical because it meant a potential loss. It meant a potential breakup. It meant a potential, well, losing your husband or your boyfriend, right? Being kicked out of the house, and so on, right? So there was quite some charge on that, and that charge started to affect her and basically started to pull her down. Her behavior, her mood was seriously affected. Now, at this moment, it's cleared up. This charge that was there is gone. So her mood went up again. And by talking things over, this charge here now was cleaned up, was cleared up, right? So that was gone. That means there's no longer any charge in that recording. Now, I think Sarah, or who was just talking about the agility. Let me see. Miriam. So Miriam, you were talking about agility. So here's the thing. We grow older, for example, and what would ask you the question? If a certain incident or if a certain period in your life would not have happened, would you potentially be happier today? So in other words, if a certain incident or certain incidents, or if a certain period in your life would not have happened, would you potentially be happier today? But Erik, wouldn't you say many people, due to difficult, traumatic experiences, have maybe become stuck in those mental loops, images, but that wouldn't make them a narcissist? Well, that's true. That's true. We're not there yet. That's very true. That's correct then. All right, good. So here we got an answer to that question. So if certain things in our lives wouldn't have happened, and if a certain period perhaps in our life would not have happened, then we might be better off, right? So the answer to that is that you could say you have vitality. You have a lot of vitality. Now you go on in quite a happy mood. Something happens. And you lose some of that happiness. And you continue on from that moment forward. You want to rebound, but you don't know how. It's like you're feeling pain. So it's very hard to feel happiness, to feel joy. Because there's just a burden on you. Maybe something else happens, and the same thing happens. So there we lose that agility. You don't have that agility that a young child has. Young child, 6 years old, a lot of energy, is running, tripping over a stone, and goes from joy into pain. Goes home, mommy cleans up the wound, right? Puts a patch on it, says, Johnny, do you want to have an ice cream? Yes, and he's happy again. He rebounds. In life, when we grow up, we get more serious things to deal with, losses and what have you, and it seemingly reduces our vitality. Now, the good news is that vitality is not gone. It's not gone at all. With the book that I just showed you, it tells you how to clear up those key incidents so you can actually rebound and get that vitality back again. All right, now, let me see. Good. We're nicely running in time. So now, let's take with these principles of the mind, being stuck in the moment, just like I said, if a certain thing wouldn't have happened to you, would you be happier? Well, that means our attention is still stuck in the past. That's the key thing to understand here. If a certain period in your life, if certain incidents in your life would not have happened, would you be happier? If you would say yes, but because of that, I lost my happiness, that tells you your attention is still stuck. It's like your camcorder, your phone is still replaying in the background, is still replaying that instant. It takes next to nothing to just get you there again. And it goes on an automatic replay. So the book tells you how to put it in the bin forever so that you don't have to get that whole thing, keep that whole thing in automatic replay. I hope that clears up this concept of the mind a little bit. Yeah. Now, the next thing I want to go into is, let's have a look at the narcissist. Yeah. Obviously, you guys are nice people, right? You're social people, which is to say, you interact with others. You like to help others, which is a very, very key attribute, because the narcissist doesn't like to help. But you're social if you like to help others. Now, if we just take a look at the definition of narcissist, allow me to just wipe this out quickly. So, when we talk about the narcissist, if you look up the definition, you can just find it on the internet. If you look up the definition of the narcissist, that is simply a person who's got an inflated idea of his own importance. The narcissist has got simply an inflated idea of his own importance, by definition. However, we started to use the word narcissist with a whole different meaning, because we mean somebody who basically has bad intentions, who has evil intentions, right? Who is suppressing others in his vicinity, who's trying to keep others down, who's trying to squash others. So we have come to use the word narcissist in that sense. Originally, the definition was just somebody who's got an inflated idea about himself, inflated idea about his own importance. Well, there's not so much wrong with, having a sound, perhaps a bit inflated idea of your own importance. If you say, well, I am very good with computers, I'm a great nanny, I'm excellent with children, I'm a fantastic teacher because all my kids in school, they do well. Well, you could actually say, well, okay, I'm inflating my own importance a bit, but if you're good, hey, you deserve it, right? So, because you worked hard for that. So, we're not dealing with this kind of an individual. What we mean tonight is we're dealing with something more sinister. We're dealing with the, well, let's say the sociopath, the psychopath, the criminal, right? All these things. Now, just to make it very, very simple, you get all these terms, right? You got psychopath, sociopath, right? You got criminal, narcissist. Well, basically, so the narcissist, that just simply somebody's got an inflated idea of his own importance, right? The criminal, by that we mean the thief, the mugger, right? The person who's just really dishonest and who's evil intended toward you. The sociopath is a person that whatever he doesn't care about your feelings. He doesn't care about your emotions. This person has no empathy. The psychopath, he simply doesn't care about your life. This is roughly what these meanings are. Now, they all have something in common. They all have something in common, and what they have in common is this. They are suppressive. They are suppressive. They suppress, which is to say, they try to make nothing out of you. They try to make nothing out of your goals, out of your ambitions. They try to stop you from communicating. They try to stop you from being successful. They squash your beingness, so to speak, and they squash your activities, and they'll try to squash what you're trying to have in life. In other words, they suppress. That is the opposite of help. And to help means to support another individual in his or her survival. All the actions of the suppressive individual are against survival. They're anti-survival. So he suppresses. He makes your life harder, not easier. And we can actually call this also antisocial. Okay? See? Any mental space. Okay, that was the last comment. I think I'm with you guys. Now, I'm going to wipe this out again and then do a little sketch for you. So here's the situation. Like in the beginning of the webinar, we covered the mind. It's okay, so you are looking at these pictures. Now, here's the kicker. Do you think that you are just your body, or do you think that you are something more than just your body? Like a spiritual being, perhaps. Do you think you're just a body? Or do you think you're more than just your body? Put something in the chat. Meanwhile, I'm going to have some water. Okay. So you are more than a body, right? Not the body or its mind. Good. So that question got some traction here, right? That is a funny one. Okay, good. So there's a shift right now, huh? There's a shift. For a long time, people have thought that they were just bodies. You only live once, right? And that viewpoint is changing to we are spiritual beings, right? I don't want to go into it, but just say, let's imagine you never had any really traumatic experience in this lifetime. No big losses, right? No severe bullying, you haven't been, your limbs have not been chopped off in a world war or whatever. Yet, you're going through life with difficulties. Where is that coming from? You got it. You're a spiritual being. You have more experiences there than you are perhaps aware of right now. Same thing for that narcissist, that antisocial, that suppressive individual. Remember, we can actually get stuck in a moment. We can get stuck in a recording of the past. Our narcissist is actually stuck in the moment. Very key to understand. He is stuck. He doesn't even know, just like let's say you had a fight with your boyfriend, you didn't clear it up. Maybe a week after, you're still stuck in it, but time goes on and you kind of forget about the whole thing. When you ask the right question, the grief and the charge will just come right back, telling you you're stuck in it. So here we have the suppressive individual. We're just going to call him SP, suppressive person. So suppressive person, and he is under attack by a bunch of people who simply want him dead. Imagine that, for example, you're in a war, and all of a sudden you're surrounded by enemies. A good bunch of them. They have one single intent, and that is to kill you. So this suppressive person, the criminal, the narcissist, the psychopath, the sociopath, the person who suppresses, he was actually quite a normal person at that time, but he actually got suppressed by others because they meant him dead. And he's stuck in that moment. And that's basically where he's at. Now, let's imagine he's just stuck there in these pictures. Now he sees you. This guy's got a bug in the mind as well. And the bug is that thing is still on replay, and it now identifies the present time situation with the past situation. Just to give that example again, you're walking through a dark alley, you get mugged, you get robbed, you have a very, very bad experience. 5 years later, you walk into another dark alley, and your mind tells you, uh-oh, the same thing is going to happen again. You get an identification. Your mind identifies this alley with the alley from 5 years ago. It's an automatic identification. That's where the bug is. This antisocial individual, the narcissist, identifies the people from the previous incident with you. So how is he going to see you? Well, he's going to see you as an enemy. Does that make sense? Does that make sense that he actually, if you have been with such a person, does it make sense that he constantly treats you as if you're the enemy? Sees you as an enemy. Have you seen that? right? Sarah says yes. Miriam says yes, I have. Good. Beautiful. Karen, yes. All right, good. So that's the commonality, right? He identifies anybody. It could be the neighbor. It could be a random person in the street. It could be a colleague. It could be a boss. His mind is on a total identification. You are his enemy. Now, if you look at what is going on planet Earth right now, and you have a look at who is actually pulling the strings, governments and leadership, and what is their behavior? Do they see you as friend or do they see you as foe? Right? In other words, are we dealing with really rational people, or are we dealing with people who actually treat others as if they are the enemy? It's a bit of an odd one, right? Now, you might actually try to convince that person with love. And you actually want to flow your love to that person. Doesn't get anywhere. He's not able to spot this. He's very stuck in time. He cannot see love. He cannot see kindness. You're wasting your time, honestly, you're wasting your time if you're trying to tell this person, I love you. I care for you. I want to show you my love. I want to give you my love. You're absolutely wasting your time. He cannot see that because he is fixated on destroying others. His survival here, his survival depends on destroying the people around him. If he is stuck in a moment, his mindset is still, I need to destroy everybody in order to survive. Does that make sense? I know it sounds crazy, but if you just look at what's happening, does that actually make sense that his whole mindset is like, I need to destroy everybody so I can live? It's a wild one, isn't it? So yeah, you have a person here who might come across as quite sane, as quite intelligent, right? Maybe as quite forthright, but yet he is crazy and completely spun in, because all he's giving you is a social facade, a social pretense that's going to do the right thing, but his actions are very, very destructive and just aimed to do you in. So his survival depends on keeping you down. Right, now, just give you an example. It's a bit the mindset of an animal. Let's imagine you have a water buffalo stuck in mud sand, in the mud. And you're throwing out a lasso and you're trying to pull him out. In other words, you're trying to save his life. Is he going to see you as a friend or as a foe? What do you think? Right, be in control. But how can a child, even when it comes to a dysfunctional family, come to experience this? Yes, well, we are spiritual beings. That is the answer. Believe it or not, that can actually be verified. It's a scientific statement that I'm making here. It can be proven. It can be proven. There's techniques to basically handle this. Right? Now, you got the water buffalo question, yeah? You're trying to save the water buffalo. You're trying to save him from drowning. Is he going to see you as an enemy, or is he going to see you as a friend? You probably guessed. You probably guessed it. All right. Now we got a few more minutes, and I don't have much to cover. Might take an extra 10 minutes of your time, if you're all right with that. So, let's say, how does that person treat you? And here's, I'm going to give you a few, I see enemy, right? Yeah, thank you. I see it. I'm going to show you a few things that you could easily spot, right? Here's the suppressive person. In other words, trying to put you down. He's trying to suppress. Yeah, number one. Whatever he does, he's trying to squash you, squash your actions, nullify you, ridicule you, make nothing out of you. It comes as do as I say or else, which is domination. Now, let's say we're going to have a look at how does that person treat you. How does the person treat you? Well, let's say, well, he did something to you. He or she did something to you. And you thought it was really bad. You thought it was just not tolerable, right? It was a bad thing that person did to you. Now he's going to respond. He said, well, he's going to say, it's just ridiculous what you're bringing up. Whatever happened to you, I mean, it had no importance. It was completely unimportant. It was even deserved. But let's say you would take something small, you say, you know, I'm going to borrow you my keys, right? And then a couple of days later, you still didn't get your keys back. You find out Mr. Suppressive just lost your keys. So he's like, okay, now I have to buy new keys, right? And now I need to go to the key shop and make copies and what have you. It's gonna cost me my time, my money, and he's just taking it as a complete ridicule. It's completely unimportant, and it's even deserved. It's your own fault because you didn't ask for it. Something like this. Now let's say we do it the other way around. Let's say you take his keys or her keys, right, and you don't return the keys, or there's something that you did to Mr. Suppressive that he or she didn't like. Now he's going to inflate it. He's going to make a mountain out of a molehill. He's going to make something really big. He's going to make it very important. Right? And he's actually going to let you know it is really bad. And the other thing is that you're going to get the feeling it's irremediable. Like it's beyond repair, you know. Whatever you did is irremediable. It's so bad. Okay, so that's some of the characteristics. He's doing something to you. It's like, yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's just ridiculous. You know, it's totally deserved. You do something to him, makes a big deal out of it, right? Now, the other thing is that maybe you do something as a gesture. Let's say you come up and you say, well, you know what, here, I made a really nice cake for you. I made a really nice cake for you. Now he's going to give you the idea, well, anybody could have done that. Others probably could have made a better cake than you did, right? In other words, whatever you're trying to do, it never really has any real value. Right. So do you recognize these things? Have you seen this? Have you seen these attributes in the antisocial, the suppressive personality? Yeah, all of them, right? Now you can tell you're dealing with the true suppressive person, the person trying to get you down. Now don't be fooled, these people just wear a mask, right? Behind the mask, there's something really ugly going on in their mind. So, the point is, this person can no longer really create. They become like, I don't know, professional. I gotta be a bit careful with what I say, right? But you know, they become like professional chair sitters, for example, right? They gotta make sure other people pay for that. Right? They're totally parasiting on you. They don't really produce anything, really anything of value. They're entirely parasitic, right? They specialize in getting really offended when you do something to them. They specialize in actually blowing it up, right? Making a big deal out of it, right? And the main thing here is a total lack of introspection and actually taking responsibility. You might say, all right, good, yeah, I did something wrong and I need to correct myself. And I need to not do that again in the future. I need to take some measures to make sure I'm not making that mistake again. Not so with this dude or girl. No introspection. It's just a nut house, right? Will never look at himself. He can only look at you, what you do wrong. He can never look at what he is doing wrong. And you've probably seen that as well, right? Good, so we come to the last part now. How do you deal with these people? First of all, you need to know them by their attributes. You need to know them by their characteristics. It all comes in this very, very handy little booklet. You can see it's quite thin. It's called The Cause of Suppression, and I'm going to offer that to you tonight. So first of all, you need to recognize them for what they are. Tonight you got some data already. There's a bit more data. And if you have that down cold, you're quite safe. Because there's quite a number of people that walk around, or maybe I should say crawl around on this planet, who are like those people, right? Not your best friends, in other words. So the first thing is that these guys have no power. They have no power. They don't produce. They don't produce anything of value. In order to produce anything of value, you need to have some mental strength. They come across as having mental strength, but they don't. They're very insecure, but the mask carefully hides it, keeps it hidden. But the thing that they do is they push your buttons. And here it goes. That's you. That's your mind. You're unfortunate enough. You're unfortunate enough to be with a suppressive person. See what happens. You say, you know what? I lost my keys. you're social, so your communication is social because social people help each other. So you trust that when you say, I lost my keys, somebody's going to say, you know what, let me see how I can help you. That person hates help. Absolutely despises the idea of help. He would rather die than help you. So you tell him, I lost my keys. What is he going to do? Let's imagine here you got this button that switches on. He's going to tell you something that pushes your buttons. He's going to tell you, that is so typical of you. You always lose your things. Now he's nicely going to rub it in and make you feel really bad. What's going to happen? You're going to introvert and say, oh yeah, I lost my keys a week ago, and I lost something a month ago, and actually he's right, because I lost some things and I keep losing my things. So instantly he gets you to spin in and to introvert. When you do that, you actually have just lowered yourself. You basically rendered yourself less powerful. You took your own power away because that guy here pushed your buttons. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm not up to date with the chat. Let's see what's happening. All right. Yeah. All right. Good. So it's just pushing your buttons. Yeah. Constantly pushing your buttons. Constantly leaving you affected with a bad feeling. The beginning of the webinar asked you, do some people leave you affected with a very, 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 very bad feeling? That's one of their mechanisms. That's one of the ways that they do it. Yeah. And it's crafted. It's hidden. It's ingenious the way they move around, maneuver themselves around, and tactfully push your buttons. But they do. Now, what happens? Over time, you're going to lose your vitality. Because these people just have one purpose, they want to do you in. You're going to lose your vitality if you're going to be with them. And your life is just going to be one big roller coaster. You go, one moment you're up, the next moment you're down. You've seen that, right? So basically, when we find the key moments that you personally got stuck in, where you have the charge, and we clean them up, then your vitality would just come zing back up. And that is basically what can be done. Number one, you do need to know how to spot here, there. So you do need to know how to spot these people. You do need to know what is the true antisocial individual. How can you recognize that person? The booklet actually covers the attributes, the behavior, why they behave that way, and it gives you a tool to handle and deal with these people. Now, so Pavel is just telling me, give them a bit of an idea. All right, so let me do that. I always listen to Pavel. He's bright. He's got good ideas. He wants to help, right? He's definitely social. So there you go. Yeah, that's what it looks on the inside. Yeah, you got basic terms, definitions, pictures there. It's very easy to read, and it's beautiful. So basically, over there, it tells you the antisocial personality. There you go. Right? Now, as I said, you want to get those mental scars out of the way and get that vitality back. And that's basically what you do with that. That's called Dianetics, Modern Science of Mental Health. It is the only book on the planet, trust me, it's the only book on the planet that accurately describes what is the mind, what is in there that is holding you back, limiting you to use your full potential. And it tells you how to fix it. It's an amazing book. You can get it in 50 languages, literally from Arabic to Zulu. You can get it in Portuguese. You can get it in Brazilian Portuguese. You can get it in Castellano, and you can get it in Espanol Latino. Just to give you a few examples, right? You can have it in Chinese. You can have it in traditional Chinese. So there's definitely your own language there. And what I want to do tonight is I want to offer you the book. The book is 20 euros. It's a high quality print. I can show you that. There's, see, there we go, just in the camera. It's a high quality print. It is a very unique book because in the back of the book you have your own glossary. So it's like a book that comes with its own dictionary. And so what I want to offer you is I want to offer you the book that's going to give you the knowledge about you. You can get it with free shipping now. It's 20 euros for the guys who live in the UK, probably about 17, 18 pounds. And on top of that, I want to give you the free online materials on the antisocial personality, the suppressive person, the narcissist. It's all in there. So you have basically, you're hitting two birds with one stone, so to speak. And I see that Pavel just put the link for you, right? So we get the promotion going on, I think for the next roughly 45 minutes. Yeah, up till 10 o'clock we do a free shipping everywhere. That's right. Yeah, everywhere. So that is what I wanted to get across to you tonight. Now, maybe you want to have a look at the link, but maybe you have a question as well. So I don't know exactly what you said at what you guys said at the beginning of the webinar, but some people leave you badly affected, right? The other thing is that, for example, if a certain period in your life, if certain incidents in your life would not have happened, you'd be happier today. Just imagine if that doesn't get fixed, yeah, your vitality will stay low. You don't have to do anything for that to continue. But with this, I can tell you, 100% guaranteed, speaking from experience, you will actually go back up again. It's life-changing. It's absolutely life-changing. This, if you have that data, it's so simple. You're going to go through that. And right away, you're going to spot people in your family, you're going to spot people with your friends, your social ties, work relationships, and say, ah, okay, I spotted one. And what I can tell you about the book on the mind, first of all, there's knowledge. You're going to have a lot of realizations because you start to understand your own behavior. And then next thing is it has a practice, it has a therapy, a method, which isn't psychotherapy, it isn't meditation, it isn't all these other practices. It's a very unique way to eliminate that charge, to get it off of your chest, make sure it's gone forever. When that happens with that technique, it's never going to come back. All right, guys, any questions? All right, so with the exercise in the book, is that sufficient or is there a need for auditing counseling? Yeah, that's an amazing question. It's very good. from my own experience, what I see is that when there's things that we do not understand, like why is this happening to me? Why me again? Right? That creates a lot of stress. It creates a lot of confusion. There's unanswered questions there. The moment that you do get the information, you may actually find relief because you get a realization. The realization itself will take away the charge. So, information, knowledge can be very therapeutical. And in this case, that knowledge is very therapeutical. And I've seen time and again, people actually got through the book, got to a higher level of understanding, actually rebounded simply because they now had a higher level of understanding. Now, that doesn't mean that you do not need the therapy. Yeah. The therapy is quite simple. You can do that with a friend. You can do that with a family member. It's a 10-step plan that's laid out basically in such a way that you could pretty much take it to any tribe anywhere in the world, right? People could learn it and do it together. You don't have to be a psychotherapist. You don't need any diplomas. The book tells you exactly how to do it and how to get that off of your chest. So it's very easy to do the procedure. Yeah. And I would recommend it. I had many sessions myself. Yeah, I've changed a lot. I got rid of a lot of bad habits. And I have to say, I gained a lot of confidence. I was in such a bad shape in the past that I would not even make a phone call. That would just get me to shit in my pants. An anxiety stomach, not in the stomach, whatever. And it's no longer there, it's gone. So it's definitely an amazing technology. All right. Good. So Sarah says, thank you. Makes sense. All right. Miriam, looking forward to do some therapy as well. Good. Yeah. I mean, Miriam, get the book. Get the booklet. It's amazing. If you're in Ireland, we can actually chat and you can have a free session. Anybody who lives in Ireland, on the other hand, if you want to come over, come to Dublin, we're like between 60 and 70 staff, all volunteers, just here to help each other out, right? Okay, good. So, okay, Sarah, thank you very much. Love more videos like this. Brilliant. All right, Dan, many thanks. Okay, see you at the next webinar. Yeah, good. All right, guys. So, I love your feedback. It's been great being with you tonight. I took 20 minutes additional time, but I know from experience that this subject, this narcissist subject, is a hot one, right? And no wonder, because right now on planet Earth, that's what we really see, and we need to wake up to the fact who is in control, and we need to realize that we can be better. We can manage our own lives a little bit better. And the first step to do so is make sure you get the knowledge, because that is going to make you stronger and better. All right, guys, so I hope to see you again next week. And thank you for staying here an hour and 20 minutes, and have a great rest of your evening. Bye for now.